I can say with confidence every single one of you has eaten vegetables at some point in your life. And let's be honest, you probably are still eating them today, some more than others. Over the past few years, more and more people have started paying closer attention to what they eat, cutting back on meat, upping their veggie intake, whether it's for ethical reasons, the environment, or their health. That's exactly what Christy, a 24-year-old American, decided to do. She completely changed her diet to live a healthier lifestyle, and for a while, she ate almost nothing but vegetables. Our brave test subject, Gustave, is going to follow in Christy's footsteps, but he's taking things way further. So Gustave, you like fruit, right? Well, too bad, because fruit is off the table. Apples, bananas, lentils, beans, peas, and so on, it's out. Yep, our test subject is about to eat only vegetables for a whole year. No more fried chicken, no more summer barbecues, no more sweet treats. No cheese, no dairy, no sauces to help those veggies go down. Gustave is going all in. But the real question is, what will Gustave be like after a year of this? Will he be in great shape? Will he be completely exhausted and a few pounds lighter? Or maybe even in bad enough shape to land in the hospital or worse? Time to find out with today's big question. 1 year of eating only vegetables, what's it like? Clearly, our Gustave is having a hard time accepting his new mission. Don't bother stressing about it, buddy, just toss all that stuff away. It'll be expired by the time the year's up anyway. It's been 24 hours now, and he hasn't eaten anything but vegetables. Like most of us, he's used to eating a bit of everything, so eating 100% vegetables today, yeah, right now he's got the munchies. His stomach is overproducing gastric juices, and his digestive system's running at full speed for absolutely no reason. So now, as a result, his stomach is gurgling, making noise, Gustave is very hungry and totally wiped out. But other than that, no need to worry, he's fine. The thing is, since he can't exactly scarf down pounds and pounds of veggies, which are low in calories, our mustached friend here is now in a hypocaloric state. You're in a hypocaloric state when you're eating fewer calories than your body needs each day. Basically, you're in a calorie deficit, which leads to something called catabolism. To put it simply, it means some of your cells start breaking down. So Gustave is slowly but surely going to start losing weight. That's the key takeaway. It's been 5 days now, and Gustave's been juggling eggplants, leeks, pumpkins, basically anything that grows in the ground, with a few exceptions, because I banned tubers, or better known as starchy vegetables, so no potatoes, radishes, or turnips. How's it going on your end, Gustave? Yeah, he doesn't exactly look like he's thriving. Since his body isn't getting enough calories, it started pulling from fat and muscle to make up the difference. That's generally how it works when you lose weight. But careful, everyone's different, and there's no one-size-fits-all way to lose weight. We all know someone who eats whatever they want, whenever they want, and never seems to gain weight. That actually comes down to one thing that varies a lot person to person: your metabolism. Metabolism is what controls how much energy your body burns. Basically, the slower your metabolism, the less energy you burn, and the more likely you are to store fat. The faster your metabolism, the less likely you are to gain weight quickly. Your base metabolic rate is set by your genetics, and it really doesn't get more personal than that. In Gustave's case, his metabolism is starting to slow down to protect him as much as possible from deficiencies and fatigue. Your metabolism is kind of like your best ally. It slows things down to prevent you from expending too much energy, and therefore prevents you from dipping too much into your reserves. What's the matter, Gustave? You don't look so good. You know what? I think it's got something to do with, believe it or not, sugar. Because yeah, the human brain usually needs about 120 grams of glucose a day. And with nothing but vegetables on his plate, Gustave is nowhere close to the 120 grams. And unfortunately, it's not gonna get any better as time goes on. 1 month has already gone by, and it's time to talk about a topic that vegans out there probably know all too well: deficiencies. Now let me be clear, I'm well aware that it's not just vegans who can have deficiencies, but the ones we're going to talk about tend to affect vegans a little more directly. First off, our friend Gustave is lacking in vitamin B12, and unfortunately there's no magic fix for that. It's no coincidence that B12 is one of the most commonly taken supplements by vegans. This vitamin is found almost exclusively in meat, and it helps your brain function properly, keeps your nervous system in shape, and even helps make blood. So yeah, it's pretty essential for your body to run smoothly. I think it's pretty easy to see why things might get messy for Gustave in the months ahead. On top of that, our poor test subject is also seriously lacking in protein. Nope, sorry Gustave, no chicken for you. So protein, I'm guessing you've heard of it. It's an essential macronutrient for humans and for a whole bunch of reasons. First off, you mainly find it in meat, but also in grains, dairy, and things like nuts and almonds. So if you're only eating vegetables which have very little protein, you're not getting enough to maintain your muscle mass. To be more specific, the protein found in vegetables is incomplete. But then again, that's not really what vegetables are for, so no surprise there. A protein is made up of amino acids, and there are 20 of them in total. Out of 20, 8 are called essential amino acids. They're called essential because your body can't produce them, so they have to come from your diet. The full profile of amino acids in a protein is called an aminogram, and to get a complete one without taking supplements, you either eat meat or you combine certain foods like legumes and grains, which, as you've probably figured out by now, isn't possible when you're only eating vegetables. It's now been 3 months since our little Gustave has eaten nothing but vegetables. And even though veggies have fiber and vitamins, he's never felt so weak and exhausted in his life because of that ongoing calorie deficit. Gustave has lost a lot of weight, he's depressed, his libido has completely disappeared, his sleep is a mess, and his muscle mass has melted away like snow in the sun. Some of you might know what this feels like if you've been through something like anorexia. And if that's the case, I really hope you're doing better now. A few minutes ago, I talked about protein. But now we need to mention another missing piece: fat, or lipids, which are the same thing. Without them, your brain and most of your hormones can't function properly. Yep, your brain doesn't run just on glucose, it actually runs mostly on fatty acids, like the ones found in lipids. And let's just say you won't find many of those in vegetables. Lipids are the foundation of hormone production. And don't be fooled, hormones aren't just a teenage or pregnancy thing. Your body has over 50 different hormones, and you can basically think of them as messengers. In fact, they're the link between your various organs, ensuring that your body functions properly as a whole. But don't worry, it's not all bad news when you eat only vegetables. After more than 90 days of full-on veggie mode, the amount of antioxidants in Gustave's system is sky high, which means the risk of developing any kind of inflammation is basically zero. Same thing goes for heart attacks, diabetes, and even more serious stuff like atherosclerosis. Behind that almost unpronounceable name is a condition where the arteries harden, then weaken over time. So sure, Gustave is pretty safe from those issues, but that doesn't mean he's getting off easy. Yeah, sorry Gustave, but things are about to get even worse. We've hit the halfway point, and like I hinted at earlier, Gustave has unfortunately developed a condition called anemia. After 6 months, Gustave is seriously lacking in iron, vitamin B12, and vitamin D, and that's what's made him anemic. To be a little more precise, anemia consists of a depletion of the blood due to a decrease in red blood cells. When you're anemic, you feel weak. You're constantly tired, dizzy, and emotionally and mentally drained. Fun times, right? Now, vitamin D is a little more complicated since it's often linked to sunlight, but it doesn't actually come from the sun directly. To put it simply, vitamin D comes from your diet, what you eat, and not the sun, but it's the sun that activates the vitamin D in your body. At this point with this diet, you're starting to look almost ghostly, and the lack of certain nutrients is slowly beginning to take its toll. I could try to be optimistic, but honestly, Gustave's weight loss is starting to look pretty worrying. No appetite anymore, huh? That's actually pretty normal and explainable. Appetite disorders can be very violent and extreme when you're forced to follow a diet that's too harsh or unsuited to your body or your mental health. So please be mindful, and I'm talking to all of you, not to Gustave. After 1 year of eating only vegetables, it's time to see what our good old Gustave looks like. Wait, I think he's actually dead. Like, really dead. He does not look like he's joking around. Would things have ended up the same if his body type had been different? Odds are, yeah, pretty much. Of course, after a year of only vegetables, starting out at 130 pounds versus 330 pounds, or 60 kilos versus 150 kilos, that makes a huge difference. If you're already too thin, your body crashes faster and your immune system just stops protecting you properly. Even basic illnesses can suddenly become life-threatening. On top of that, things like your medical history, whether you smoke, whether you exercise, all of that changes the outcome completely. We're definitely not all equal when it comes to diet and disease. So if we want to make sure Gustave actually survives this experiment, let's rewind and have him start out like this. There we go, that's more like it, my Gustave. Before we wrap up, let's be clear, this whole experiment was intentionally extreme. I want to quickly go back to Christy, the 24-year-old American I told you about at the very beginning of the video. Remember her? Just to remind you, she ate only vegetables, fruits, grains, and legumes for a little over a year, all while doing up to 3 workouts a day. She lost 97 pounds or 44 kilos, which is huge, and eventually had to be treated by doctors to get back to a normal balanced diet, but she's doing great now. Then there's Susan, a 29-year-old from Scotland who's been following a similar diet for the past 7 years. She says it keeps her wrinkle-free and looking like a teenager, and she honestly looks super healthy. But remember, none of them ate only vegetables, but I still wanted to mention them because their diets come the closest to what we explored in today's experiment. As you've probably figured out by now, nutrition and the human body are both incredibly complex topics. Getting into all the details would take way too long and might be a bit too technical as well. Just remember, your diet should work for both your body and your mind. And if you're ever unsure, talk to a doctor. That's what they're there for. The key is to have a varied diet that's rich in nutrients. Eat fruits and vegetables, ideally seasonally and organic if you can, and you're already off to a great start. And if you've cut meat from your diet and mostly eat vegetables yourself, let us know about your experience in the comments.